about the noise, where legends rise. From the clouds to the crowd, this is Crowd, where Africa meets opportunity, where music meets magic.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to another edition of our L&D series, and I am your host for today. As usual, I am Elias Ayodele, or the Newma for short. Today we're talking about a very interesting topic, which is the unsung architects, how music producers can position for syncs, scores, and cross-genre collabs. So we are talking basically about music producers. We have David Simon here. This is a music producer, a mixing engineer, a live music arranger, and a pianist. David Simon, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling all right. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
So let's get right to it. You see, many people think that the bulk of the work is or lies with just the artist. Nobody is even looking at the production. Nobody's looking at the costume. Nobody's looking at the stylist. You only see the sides that is projected to the public, right? And that brings us to the topic of producers. Music producers are basically the backbone of most records. You will not have a record without a music producer. So this brings us to, we want to expose and talk about how the music producers, contributes to the growth and the success of artists generally, right? So I don't even want to give us a backstory, maybe like how you started your music production journey or what. Let's go. Let's have it.
All right, all right. Before I talk about my own background, I want to paint a little picture about the functions of producers in the success of a lot of songs that are out there, a lot of success in a lot of artists out there. Because in the past, if we take it in the past, before this whole thing became this big, music producers are just those guys behind the computer who are not even known for what they do, and the artists are always at the forefront. They are the ones with the fame, the ones popular. But now, there is producers are now coming out to make themselves known. You will see sometimes in music videos, the artists are now also bringing their music producers out for recognition. Like, okay, apart from their tag, they bring them out for recognition. Like, okay, this is the person behind the sound, and obviously some producers are now popular, they are now known that okay, this is the person behind the craft, behind the sound that is out there. So they are now getting their flowers. So for every successful song, music producers are also like part of songwriters. They are part of, because the whole creativity that brings out what people listen to, a big part is being played by the music producer. The crafting of the sound from scratch. It's just like you are bringing something into existence when where nothing existed before. So they bring out the sound from the scratch. There are times the artist will write a song and the producer will like produce to it, will make the beats and everything. But a lot of time, one thing people don't know, a lot of time, those instrumentals have existed even before the song. So what inspired some of these songs we hear are even the instrumental. Sometimes an artist can come up and say, okay, send me beats. And once the producer said like maybe 20, they'll just go through them, and anyone that hits something in there, they start writing, and they'll make a masterpiece out there. So apart from that, let me go back to what inspired me as a music producer. It started from church. A lot of music producers out there started from church. It's just that when people get big and they just want to paint that secular aesthetic. So you see some people, they'll change their dressing, they'll be on dress, just to get that artist vibe and all that. Yeah, so it started from church, listening to people playing the instruments, and I got inspired and I started learning the piano in church. I started learning the piano, I started playing in church. And then I wanted to showcase what I can do after practicing for years. I wanted to showcase in my craft, and I needed a medium to do that. So I needed an audio workstation, that is a DAW, digital audio workstation, to like broadcast what I can do for people to hear. That was why I entered into. I started using FL Studio, and my initial plan was just to record the piano and post out there for people to hear. But I don't know. All of a sudden, I just started getting interested. Okay, what if I make beats and apply my piano skill that I've learned into this? And I started, learning how to make beats and started learning mixing and mastering and all of that. It just happened that way. Little by little, I started getting interest on other aspects of music, and it brought me to,
Okay, that's amazing. Some backstory, right? That was some backstory, right?
yeah.
This is really interesting. So, like, how many years have you been doing music now? Just, for people that are like interested in that and things like that.
I've been doing music for, let's say, 10 years, like
Oh,
10
wow,
years
that's
now.
a long time. Amazing.
Because even before the piano, I was playing the drums. So from drums, I entered the piano, from piano to music production, like that. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. So, as a music producer, I'm very much aware that you are familiar with the number of things and terms and lingos that you people use in the industry. Can you just take us through? I mean, let's know about sync licensing.
so sync licensing is another aspect that is not, should I say, is not really popular here. A lot of people have not really known much about. It's not really a thing here because people focus more on placements. Placement that is, getting direct projects from an artist that is already big or like that to just do a job and get paid for it. And people also focus more on beat making, selling beats online, selling beats on beat stars and the rest. But sync licensing is not really a thing you will easily hear from someone out there. So even is a nice idea that you are even talking about it. And sync licensing basically is is something music producers can do and something artists also can do. Because we watch movies, we watch commercials in games and all that, and we listen to the sound they use. And those sounds are created by music producers, they are created by artists also, and they get paid. They get paid for every single sound, every single song you hear in any movie, in any TV station, and the rest. They get paid, and that's what sync licensing is about. It's like synchronization. Sync license is also known as synchronization licensing. It's also known as that, and it is just basically the process of legally pairing music with a visual media. So the process of pairing music with a
Okay.
visual media like movies, TV shows, commercials, and video games. So
Okay.
getting the permission to use those music basically is sync licensing.
All right.
So
All right.
producers
That's amazing.
can just get into it better.
Okay, so this even makes us realize that you don't have to wait till you are very big before you start making money from your music as a producer.
Exactly,
Wow, which is
exactly.
interesting. Okay, so this brings us to this question I have. So from TV and films to video games and ads. So how can African producers tailor their sounds to meet the sonic demands of different sync markets without losing authenticity? To a very large extent, even though we are still trying to, put ourselves out there in the market and be like, okay, let's make the songs. There is still trying to make our songs for their games. There is still the place of our authenticity, bringing our Africanism into it, and they still appreciate it. Davido was on a song and he was singing in a "I love you forever, girl," and it was a jam, bro. So that brings us to the question: so how can African tailor their sounds to meet the sonic demands of different sync markets, but still without losing authenticity?
Exactly. Now, one thing that will make African producers stand out is originality. Because sometimes what the those people outside expect to get from us is not what they already do. It's not what they already do. They expect to get
That's right. That's right.
our African originality. That is like our market. Just like
That's our selling
Afrobeat
point.
now. But now the craft is appreciated everywhere. So even in sync licensing, just like for example, Black Panther, you could hear a track from Burna Boy in Black Panther. So imagine Burna Boy decided to do hip hop or decided to do one of these genres that are not really our thing. You
Right.
get it will be off because what they want this African vibe, and to get this original African vibe, they have to come to Africa and get someone from Africa. It doesn't mean we are restricted to just doing
Yeah.
Afrobeats, piano. No, I do different genres. I do trap, I do hip hop, I do piano, I do drill. I learnt all of those other genres. but our originality will make us stand out. Why they will come back for you is your originality and consistency in your originality. You having your own sound,
Mm,
creating it from scratch, not a case where they use your sound for a project and they are being sued because maybe the artist just goes out there and randomly buys a beat from Beatstars without buying the premium package, and then they are getting strike and all of that. So originality will make you stand out and consistency in the originality. It doesn't mean you cannot do other genres, but let your African roots be the main deal. And creativity, creating something new that's that is not everywhere. That is a new sound, a new fusion, the ability to okay combine this and this together to just create something new. Because as humans, we evolve every we evolve. It's not every project that needs orchestra in it. It's not every project that needs R&B in it. We just need this new sound, this
right.
new pattern. What sells right now is uniqueness and
Mm.
originality. Uniqueness and originality.
Thank you so much for that. You've opened our eyes to a number of things. Okay, so I have a practical question here. Can you walk us through a real life sync placement that you landed? What made it happen, and what lessons can upcoming producers pick from that journey?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So for producers that want to venture into sync licensing, one of the important things that are needed is knowledge, which is how can I sell my sound? How can I distribute it out there? Now, this is a lot, but let me try and summarize it. One, there are music supervisors, and also there are sync agents. And three, there are sync licensing companies out there where musicians can just you can sign up and put out your stuff, just post your music there, create a catalog of your music in those platforms. And then those music you put out there can be picked for a project. When they check your work and there's originality, there's quality production, and there's consistency in originality, then you have a good chance. And I'll just mention few of those platforms so you can check them out and register, because to land a sync licensing deal, you have to be intentional about it, which means you have to put your work out there in those platforms so that you can land a job, and also try to network with supervisors also on LinkedIn. That you can easily even get them there. It doesn't mean it is easy to get a supervisor, because sometimes they don't really like working directly with artists again. Sometimes they prefer working with a sync agent, but it is better to use these companies out there. We have Epidemic Sound. There are so many. I'll just like go through them. We have Epidemic Sound. We have Jamendo. We have Gratitude Sound. We have
Okay.
Artlist. Yeah, Artlist is a bit popular. Artlist, that is arts and lists. We have Artlist. We have Pond Five. We have Pond Five.
Okay.
And okay, in Nigeria, we have COSON, which is COSON, because some of these companies are based in different locations. For Nigeria, we just have places you can register your songs to collect royalties. For a start, it's also advisable before these companies, we also need to be aware of PROs, that is performing rights organizations. We
Right.
need to be aware of PROs, BMI, which is Broadcast Music Inc., which can collect performance
Royalties.
royalties performance royalties. BMI is a USA company. We have ASCAP in USA and COSON in Nigeria. So COSON is not a sync licensing company. It's just like a PRO organization. So for a start, it's good to even register your songs, register your sounds in these platforms before sync licensing platforms. It is advisable. It's not as if it is a rule, but it is advisable. Then you can just explore platforms that I mentioned, like Jamendo, Gratitude Sound, Epidemic Sound, there's Music Bed, we have Atlas, Pond 5, and the rest. There are many. You can just do your research and put your stuff out there consistently. It's more of building your catalog and creating more value for yourself. Then with time, you can land a placement, a sync licensing deal.
All right, thank you so much. So this is like, when I first asked the first question, I said it's like a gold mine. Now it's actually a gold mine because now we are giving people free gold to catch and stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So with these things that you've mentioned, with these opportunities that you've made obvious for us now, it brings us to ask a very, very deep question and a very, very real question. Because, now we are realizing that we are having a lot of cross genre collaborations. In fact, from producers here in Africa connecting with people down in Korea, people that cannot speak your language. We have
yeah, yeah, yeah,
collaborations
yeah.
with coming to work with African artists. So we are having cross genre, we're having cross cultural, we're having cross territorial collaborations, and it's a lot right now. Right now, how can you can see African artists to a very large extent they've been able to leverage on their versatility. But I think African producers, a number of them have. It's not everybody. Artists is quite easy for everybody to catch up, but for producers, it
Yeah,
feels like
yeah.
it's just some guys already have hacked it and they know how to move there. So how can upcoming ones, how can African producers leverage their versatility to attract international artists, publishers, and even sync agents? So give us your
Exactly. Exactly. I talked little on this earlier. So apart from our originality, we should be skilled in other genres. We should be skilled because for you to do a fusion,
mm,
you should have the knowledge on other genres. Okay, how do these people think?
of
How do they
something.
create their own? Exactly. So when we learn Afrobeats, we should also learn the other genres out there. Learn R&B, learn hip hop, learn drill. I don't mean you should just have an idea. Learn it. Take your time and learn these genres because a lot of a lot of a lot of songs we tag to be Afro. That's why there's Afro fusion, and Afro fusion comes from merging multiple genres. So if you are not skilled in other genres, you cannot really create something that is like a fusion of what these other people. Because music is like a language, and there are people that flow with a certain type better. There are places in the world where hip hop is more dominant, and there are places in the world where amapiano is more dominant. So those people
Right.
are more used to this certain type of music. So imagine combining it with what you know. They will enjoy it, and your own people will enjoy it. Like they can, I showing you the word enjoy, they can relate to it better. So
Mm-hmm.
that will make your craft to be more unique, and it will make you more valuable as a producer. Because if you can't do only Afrobeat, you can create something that is not too popular, that is not the basic or the usual sounds people
And
know.
still even putting the African elements into it, right?
Yes, yes, the combination of African elements and other elements to just create something. Because what people value is new sound, new sound. People value new sound. One of the selling points of Odumodu Black is because he's unique. He brought his own style, and that is his selling points. So they just have to be people. We always want something new, something new, something new. Afrobeats as a craft evolves every time. Afrobeat now is not Afrobeat of 5 years back, 6 years back. Is almost totally different, and it will keep evolving. I actually use the word change. It will keep evolving and having new elements, new patterns, new approaches to it, and that is why it is now more like appreciated in even other parts of the world globally.
It's all right, sir. All right, sir. Thank you so much. I think so far you've really given us a lot of insight. Now we can see why we have a lot of improvements, why we have a lot of change to the sound. Now you see a lot of artists
Yeah,
trying to sound Afrobeat artists. You see white guys trying to sound. In my own books, I
exactly,
feel like
exactly.
is the future, or it has always been the future. Because if we check what Afrobeats is, fundamentally is basically bringing these genres together and forming something that has the
Yeah.
African thoughts, ideas as a base and a platform for these other genres to find expression. So that explains why it will keep evolving. And I think the word that we will give our producers out there is that you have to keep evolving. If
Exactly,
you don't evolve, you'll
exactly.
be. And we have number of producers from years back that we cannot mention them today because they did not catch up with the times, and they were just like local champions those days. And now, the new boys don't bounce them. We have P Prime, we have London. These guys are not
Yeah,
smiling.
yeah. The learning process doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. It
Right,
should be
right, right.
a continuous journey.
Right. I mean, it even feels like for artists, yes, you have to keep up with time, but you can still even hide yourself under your producer. But as the producer, you are the one that is even carrying the whole work
You are
now.
the one
The element,
carrying the cross. Yeah,
I mean, how a song will turn out. And that's really interesting to see that producers are very important and integral. So I think this is what this episode is about. It's for producers. You guys, you are the backbone. You are very important in this music ecosystem that we're trying to build for the African continent. And funny thing is that Africa is growing and doubling in size, making it a very, very, very big marketplace for the music industry. So we need a lot more people in the production side. We want to see people come and bring the African culture in, right? Yeah. So I think this session
exactly.
has been
Exactly.
interesting. If you have final words for producers that are coming up, just give them things that are on your mind.
What I have to say is consistency in the work ethic, because a lot of people that are doing well in this space, they work very hard. They work very hard. If you follow people like Jose Cause, almost almost every day he's live on TikTok, YouTube. He's always working, creating new beats, checking, okay, what's the latest trend? What is raining right now? So that's work ethic should be consistent, should be consistent, networking with other musicians, combining the sound. Okay, how does this person approach music? How does this other person approach music? It will always make you stand out as a music producer. And there's one producer I will recommend that every producer can take note of. If you follow P Prime, if you listen to his work, one of his motives, he doesn't want to sound like every industry producer out there. He wants to be P Prime. That from his intro, you know this is P Prime because you cannot predict some of his the songs he have created. You cannot even predict the bounce from the intro. Just creating something new, a new era, just like Rema imagine Rema infusing different different techniques into Afrobeats, and he's one of the top artists we have out there. So the work ethic shouldn't stop even when you start getting a lot of money from the home music scene. You need to evolve. You need to keep working, keep checking out the new trends out there.
All right. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. We appreciate your time for coming here with us. If you have questions, you want to comment, you want to tell us things, you can always reach out to us on our social media platforms, Crowd Africa on Instagram, Twitter, on TikTok, Facebook. We'll be swift to respond to your questions and inquiries. And if you want us to, speak with David Simon on your behalf to get some info, we can do that. I mean, he's over here. So thank you so much once again, Mr. David. It was amazing having
Thank
you.
you. Yeah. So
All
on
right,
IG,
right.
I still use my name. I use my name everywhere. David underscore Simon 001. I use 001 on IG, so you can just check my handle out.
All right. You have a nice
Thank you very
day.
much.
All
Have a
right.
nice day.